Coming up on Tekzilla, new OS X, new notebooks, new iPhones, same old AT&T. Am I going to go Android or pre? 7 million blogs hosted, banned in Turkey, blocked by China, and a $29 million round of funding last year. What's up with WordPress? Veronica interviews Matt Mullenweg, the founder, saving energy with your monitor, and DisplayPort mockery. Heat up that cheese dip and crack yourself a diet soda, because Tekzilla starts now. This episode of Tekzilla is made possible by GoToAssist, Squarespace, and Gamefly. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
Welcome to Tekzilla, hands-on reviews of the latest tech and how to make the most out of the gear you already got.
Whether you're a beginner or tech support for your friends and family, if you've got a question about phone upgrades, faster photo editing, video encoding, or the top 3 places to avoid eating in Ely, Nevada, we've got an answer for you.
And if we don't, we'll track down someone who does.
So I've been playing a little bit of the old Sims 3 lately.
No. You've been obsessed with Sims 3. Instead of spending 9 hours a day playing World of Warcraft,
it's the only thing that can keep me away from World of Warcraft right now, so I guess that's
3?
some kind of accomplishment, right?
Sims 3.
It's really fun. It's not that huge of an advancement from Sims 2. I mean, it's definitely a step up. I'm playing on the PC, of course, and the graphics look great. You can do so much more with your characters, but it still looks like the Sims we all know and love.
I was going to say, it's like you click, you point, the little mock characters
Although I'm crazy.
interact.
I'm not like the kind of person that can just like hit the randomize button and make some crazy character and go out and give them a life. I have to tailor make my characters to be people I know. So I have like a Veronica character that looks kind of like me. I have a Ryan character. And then I give them characteristics like Veronica likes computers and.
So you're like running simulations on your relationship in Sims 3?
It's kind of like a.
What happens if we both work from home?
It's a simulation.
What if we put a hot
life
tub?
Simulation. I want to see what happens when I put myself into these scenarios.
Stop! Just stop this.
That's not weird. I mean, that's weird.
Worldwide Developers Conference, new iPhones, OS X.
I know, but
we
always have Worldwide Developers Conference. How often do we have Sims 3? I mean, come on.
Well,
fine, we can talk about WWDC.
Oh, come on. You're not excited?
I am a little excited.
I mean,
I'm just not the fangirl I used to be. Although, when I saw the new stuff in the iPhone 3GS, I was a little bit excited.
And how about that upgrade for existing users of the 3G? Unless you wait until sometime in 2010, you'll be paying like $499.
Yeah, I'd be paying for the 32 gigabyte.
What is that? $699?
$699.
All right, if you're an OS X fan,
$699.
That's the full price of the phone, effectively.
That is insane.
That is AT&T going. AT&T wants money. AT&T wants to get paid. Apple, however, is looking around at Windows 7, turning around an entire generation of Windows users to actually not be pissed off at Microsoft, and it's decided to release Snow Leopard as a $30 upgrade.
That's good.
This is very good. This is awesome. It's not. Do you think it's really as big as an upgrade as Leopard? Or is it just like a nice little upgrade?
Snow Leopard?
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty. I don't really know, actually.
It's kind of like I'm kind of
comparison.
iffy.
I haven't thought about that.
I'm probably going to end up upgrading to it anyway.
I'm definitely going to upgrade to it.
$30. Who can't afford that? Yeah. New MacBook Pros, a 13-inch aluminum MacBook.
That is tickling my fancy a little bit, I have to say. And Roger's super excited because it has the FireWire back.
Actually, Roger was beyond super excited. He was like, He literally did that around our cubes. Like we're all watching like the little coverage online, like another screen pops up. Roger lost it.
I'm kind of surprised we didn't see a major hardware upgrade.
You know,
like sliding keyboard of some kind.
I was like, what about the 10-inch touchscreens? What about the 10-inch touchscreens? But no 10-inch touchscreen device.
They got to save something for Macworld, I guess.
They're not going to Macworld. They're saving something up
for
CES.
Right. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that.
There's going to be a big Apple booth at CES.
Facepalm.
Facepalm.
I forgot that they're not going to Macworld anymore. Oh, right, because that's the giant cluster F.
And in case my bitterness didn't come across in the opening, AT&T, right? Apple's like the fifth or sixth thing. Tethering will be available in the operating system and for 22 out of their 44 worldwide partners. Or we could, for MMS and for sending MMS,
which will also not be supported by AT&T.
Two boos.
Way to go, douchebags.
Two boos.
Way to go, AT&T. Way to ruin my usability experience.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm not the only one that's pissed off at AT&T right now.
No, that's pretty lame. I don't know, but is it enough for you to want to switch?
Actually, what's really enough for me to want to switch is, and part of me is like, you know, maybe they're deploying the HDSP ABC EVDO Super 3G that's going to deliver the performance that my frickin' Sprint modem has for the last 2 years. I want to think that coverage in San Francisco is difficult, right? Because we have rocks and hills.
No excuse.
But we've been having, my wife's phone, which is actually a pretty decent non-smartphone that has excellent, and it's an excellent phone, the radio chip inside is good. We've been getting, our phone, our house half the time just disappears off the network.
Oh no, yeah, I know.
And we've been getting drops in places we never had problems before, signal connectivity issues, quality issues. AT&T, get it together. Or I may even, part of me is like, I don't want a pre, I just want off AT&T.
The pre is really nice though.
It's shiny.
It's really nice. It's fun to play with.
I know a couple people actually who are actually trying to find one right now.
Yeah, the whole multitasking thing, being able to have multiple cards open at the same time and just be like, oh, I'm done with this, flick. Oh, I want to open up this thing. Oh, I want to switch back to that other thing. Oh, let me just do the flick. That's my imitation of the pre.
I've never been a high-speed phone adopter, but this is getting dangerous. Our first question of the day?
Our first question of the day comes from Mauro in the sun-drenched land of Florida. I want to buy a new internal 1.5 terabyte SATA interface hard drive, but I've read really bad reviews about bad firmware, timeouts, fail to write data, RAID problems, and new green drives that slow the spindle to lower power consumption but cause the drive to time out when in RAID. My budget is around $100 to $150, and I want as many gigabytes as possible for my money. What should I pay more attention to when shopping? What brand should I choose?
I've been buying hard drives for, wow, 20 years.
Well, I
feel old all of a sudden.
My main question is with the green stuff. Does the power consumption, does cutting that down really have that much of an effect on how the drive runs? Is that like a big issue that's happening now? Okay, so I'll get to that in a second. Okay.
We'll talk about that in a second. Let's work our way up to this. So the green drives are primarily, you know what, let me go back to where the last year has been really tough on drive vendors, especially Seagate. I have never seen so many major drive problems ever. They basically had a whole run of hard drives with the wrong firmware coming out of one factory. There have been other issues here. They seem to have everything bolted together. Here's the thing is, there's a new rule when buying a hard drive. Don't be the first person to buy a new drive size or series.
So don't be an early adopter when it comes to drives.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people who are like,
don't be an early adopter.
2 terabyte drives are out, man. They came out like a week ago. I could totally really max out my Drobo. Yeah, here's the thing, right? Just let a few thousand other people buy them through for example Newegg, and then wait to see, because Newegg's been really accurate. The Newegg sort of responses from people, there's a lot of them like, you know, I didn't like the packaging in the box.
Well, that's because geeks use Newegg. So when they write the reviews, they're going to be totally honest and have really great information about what went wrong or what worked. So I trust the recommendations there.
Generally, if there's like 150 of them, it's usually awesome. If there's like 5, read all 5 of them, because I've actually seen someone give a product like a 1-star.
Check for personality disorders when you're doing the reading. You know, I have to be really careful.
Well, because somebody gave like a product a 1-star review because they didn't like the packaging. This product worked fine, but the box sucked because it took me too long to open. And it's like, okay. Here's the thing, though.
Relevant, guys. Relevant.
If you're running a RAID, check with your RAID vendor to make sure the drive is compatible, or look at the forums for that. Drobo, for example, works great with the Western Digital green drives. Nice thing about the Western Digital green drives, right, they have the green and the black the black is slightly faster than the green, and the green uses slightly less energy than the black. You know, the thing is, though, they're quieter, at least to my ears, and they generate less heat, which is really nice in a RAID environment when you stack up a bunch of drives.
And they say they're green, which makes you feel good about yourself.
Yeah, well, let's not even get into greenwashing. let's not talk about green when we're talking about computers, because that whole thing is just such a mess. And if it's green, should it be from people that can actually afford to eat after assembling your electronic device?
We'll have a discussion about that on another day.
Yeah, because otherwise I'll just start weeping. The thing is, though, don't be the first person to buy a new drive size or a new sort of drive family. The green drives are great. I actually like them. So in some RAIDs, yes, they do create issues. Check to see if there's firmware corrections for that. Check to see if it is supported by the manufacturer, because a lot of them do a lot of hard drive testing. And at the very least, check around in the forums with other people who operate your RAID to see if they're having problems.
So suggestions?
Suggestions? Man, 1 terabyte drives are dropping below $100. 1 terabyte drives, I'm particularly fond right now of Western Digital drives. They seem to be pretty happy. I'm a little leery of Seagate. I'm waiting for them to kind of get it together. Western Digital just came out with 2 terabyte drives. I'm not buying one. They just came out a week ago. Give me a month and I might be loading up the Drobo with a bunch of new drives. But yeah, Western Digital black drives are great if you're looking for performance. If you're looking for super performance, the Velociraptor.
Yes, the Velociraptor.
I just like saying that.
Me too.
They're tiny, but they're super fast. You can load your operating system and stuff on that. The Intel drives we talked about earlier this year, the X25. I doubt you want to spend like $400 for an 80 gigabyte drive.
I think you said 150 was his cutoff.
Okay, so you're not. Don't buy a solid state drive then. Yeah,
maybe 5 years from now you'll be in that, maybe even less. In that price range. We'll see.
Right now, Western Digital black. 1 terabyte should be $100. Keep your eyes open. 1.5 terabyte drives are going to be dropping down there really soon.
Maybe
by
we
Christmas,
can put some links in the show notes to some of these.
I can do that. I can do that. Tiger, Newegg, even our local computer stores, they're super cheap. Still to come, WordPress's Matt Mullenweg talks to Veronica about the challenges facing WordPress and what's coming up in the future for that. It's the giant blog hosting thing. Just stay here. And actually, while we got your attention, Gamefly, the largest online video game rental service, offers you a choice of over 6,000 new and classic titles across all consoles and handhelds. Plans start at just $15.95 a month. Gamefly members can rent 1 to 4 games at a time and keep them for as long as it takes you to finish that game. No late fees, no due dates, shipping, always free. Once you're done playing a game, send it back and Gamefly will send you the next available game on your list. If you really like the game you're playing, just click Keep It on the Gamefly website. The game is yours at a discounted price. Gamefly is going to even send you the case and the manuals free of charge. Now, you're a Tekzilla fan, so we can score you a 2-week free trial. Just go to gamefly.com/Tekzilla. Some restrictions do apply. See the site for details. Do us a favor. You're a Tekzilla. Support us by supporting our sponsors like Gamefly. Welcome to this week's freebie download pick, a free program that we find useful, fun, or incredibly interesting. This week, WinCDEmu. It's a weird name, but with hard drives getting larger and larger, people are using the extra room to rip their movies and CDs, games, and programs just straight to the drive for backup. But what if you can't read those files once they're on your hard drive? If they're ISOs, IMG, Cube, bin, or RAW, just use WinCDEmu. This free open source virtual drive application automatically integrates into Windows Explorer. You just double click on a disk image and Windows instantly mounts it like a virtual CD or DVD drive. Now you can access that file just like you would a real drive. Play movies, listen to music, copy files. It works great and it's super helpful when you've got one of those older optical discs. Don't scrub down, don't play as well as they used to. When you're done, just select the virtual drive, right click and eject it. It vaporizes, you're good to go. Need a virtual CD DVD app that just works? Give WinCDEmu a try.
As we mentioned, we have a special guest on today's show. Matt Mullenweg is the founding developer of WordPress, a hugely successful blogging platform, and is also chief barbecue taste tester of San Francisco-based startup Automatic. I don't really know what that means, but it sounds delicious. Thanks for being here, Matt.
It's my pleasure.
So what does that mean exactly?
Chief barbecue taste tester means I don't like titles and I love barbecue because I'm from Texas. So
excellent.
Coming to San Francisco, I miss that more than anything.
I do love getting the barbecue in Austin for South by Southwest. It's always my favorite. Salt Lick?
Yeah.
Is that a good one?
It's pretty good.
Is that up to your standards?
Check out Rudy's next time you're there.
I think I've been there.
Okay, good.
Well, anyways, we're digressing majorly. Give us a little background of WordPress, how you started it, where it all came from, the whole backstory.
Sure. So WordPress, actually, we just celebrated our 6th birthday.
Oh, congratulations.
Last Wednesday. And so about 6 years ago, I was 19 years old and just starting college in Houston, Texas. But I was a terrible student, which means I spent all my time on the computer, and one of these things was blogging. I was pretty frustrated with the blogging software at the time. I felt like it was too difficult to use, not really flexible enough. So with a guy in England named Mike Little, who I'd never met before, started working on this open source project called WordPress.
Fantastic, and you're also a CNET alum, as I am.
As you are, yes.
Did we cross paths there, like 2 shifts in the night?
We did. I was a fan of you while you were there.
No way.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm going to blush. So we asked our Twitter audience to send in a few questions, so we should probably start with those. The first one is from Twitter user Formula One Blog, and it's pretty appropriate considering all the news from WWDC this week. He wants to know, when will WordPress improve the iPhone app? Our blog is based on WordPress, and a more robust iPhone app would be terrific.
I totally agree. I think the iPhone app that we have right now is pretty lame, actually. It was I think we followed the Apple guidelines a little bit too closely. So we're blogging. It's actually more difficult to publish a blog on the iPhone app than it is to publish it just on the web. Instead of a publish button, you have to like go into the status and change it. It's way too difficult. Anyway, we were rewriting it from scratch in anticipation, I guess now, of the iPhone 3.0 version. And it has some new things that take advantage of the cool stuff there.
Any new things in particular you can talk about today, or is it super secret?
Super secret, like everything around Apple.
All right, our next question is really relevant to my personal blogging habits. Dean Wagman says, the introduction of microblogging sites like Twitter have affected traditional blogging. What are your plans to combat this? I don't really know what you would need to combat it with, but any ideas about microblogging and how it's affected traditional blogging?
Well, we definitely don't want to combat anything. We want to be friendly with everything.
Integrate?
Integrate. We're open source. It's all about open data, bringing things in, putting things out. Microblogging, I think, has been sort of a wonderful trend. I see a lot of people also using it, though, as a sort of distribution mechanism for their blog. So let's say, just by chance, you have a thought longer than 140 characters, which I hope most of us do. You can put that on your blog and then pimp it on Twitter and Facebook and everything like that and drive traffic back to a place that you control the domain, the design, and maybe even have ads on it, things like that.
I have had a bit of a problem with saying things on Twitter that normally would have been a blog post, but just condensing them so much that, into that 140 characters, but then I really could have expanded a lot more on my blog. But
that's
it's
probably
just, is it laziness or is it just convenience?
I think a lot of it's convenience, and I don't think it's a bad thing either. I mean, people might have stretched things out to be blog entries that didn't really need to be before.
True.
And so now, like, I Twitter lots of things that if I blogged, my audience would probably get very, very bored very quickly.
It's all about keeping things compact and easily digestible, I guess.
I love that. I love brevity.
And then Brownie Bag wants to know, will there be ever WYSIWYG capabilities for WordPress? Back in the day, just drag and drop, put things in a blog post, or more so than just the extended editor in WordPress.
Not sure what he means. We do have WYSIWYG, of course, for post editing. He might be referring to sort of template editing. That's been a big focus, actually, of the 2.8 release, trying to make themes and templates a lot easier to work with. For example, now when you're editing a theme, it syntax highlights all the code, so if you make a mistake, it sort of stops you before you save it and crash your blog.
Oh, cool.
And it also does things like, for every function on the page, it gives you inline documentation. Those are steps along the way. Like, it'd be awesome if someday down the road, you wouldn't need to do anything, right? Everything was just a box and a checkbox and no code at all. But I think we're still a little ways away from that. WordPress is definitely today more for more serious or powerful bloggers.
More serious or powerful bloggers?
Wait, more powerful for serious bloggers is, I think, what I meant to say. Although powerful bloggers
that makes a little more sense.
are definitely welcome.
I don't really consider myself a powerful blogger.
Oh.
I'm kind of an easygoing blogger, but I do use WordPress at home, so I think it's easy enough for people to use every day, but still having that functionality for power users.
Exactly.
You should have me write your PR.
Hey,
see, I'm coming out with all these great ideas today. For something a little more on the political side of things,
Sure.
Kevin Ashby, Twitter user, wanted to know if there was going to be a chance that China was going to unblock some of these WordPress blogs. Do you know anything about that?
That's a good question. Well, the situation in China is that we're not really officially blocked. But effectively, if you're in China, you can't get to any WordPress.com blogs 95% of the time. So without us changing something seriously about what type of content we allowed on the domain or those types of policies, probably not going to become more unblocked than we are currently, unless there's some sort of political changes in China. So for example, around the Olympics, WordPress.com was pretty much accessible the whole time, because they opened up sort of the Great Firewall a little bit more, where there were lots of visitors.
Have you had any kind of dialogue with the Chinese authorities about it, or is it just what they say goes?
I think what they say kind of goes, at least in China.
All right, and next one comes from Gary Vinson, and he asks, what are your favorite WordPress plugins, your personal favorites?
That's a good question. So,
other than Akismet.
Other than the ones I wrote, I think one of my favorites I just activated on my blog is called Yet Another Related Post Plugin, YARP. It makes me feel like a pirate, YARP. But what it does is, under the post, it sort of shows things that might be related. And I've been blogging 7 or 8 years now, so I've got a lot of archives. And it actually surprises me sometimes when I blog about something and then I visit the permalink to see I've written about it before or there's something related. And it also increases the traffic on your blog a lot, because when people come in just to one entry, they'll see this other stuff that's around.
I've been thinking of adding a plugin for that recently, so that was a good suggestion.
There you go.
I'll have to look into that one. I love the Hello Dolly one too. I know it's kind of standard. It doesn't really count as a plugin, but it brings me great joy.
That was the first ever plugin in the world.
The first ever plugin in the world was a Hello Dolly plugin. TJ Mapes wants to know, when is WordPress 2.8 coming out?
Wednesday, actually.
Wednesday?
So
wait, so we're recording this earlier in the week, and it comes out on Thursday. So is it this coming Wednesday?
So do you want me to say it came out yesterday?
It came out yesterday.
We're in the future.
We're in the future. So TJ, hopefully you're well pleased with WordPress 2.8. And finally, Derek Spinell asks, what's in the future for WordPress? What are you guys looking forward to? What are you planning? Anything you can tell us would be wonderful.
So WordPress has always been super user-driven. So really with every release, we're about to go through this once 2.8 comes out, is we sort of sit down and we go through what is the community asking for the most. We have sort of an open IRC meeting and go through the ideas forum. We look at what plugins are the most popular, go through what I've been learning when I talk to people at WordCamps around the world, and sort of decide based on that. So it's always been 100% user-driven. The things that users are asking for the most right now is improved media capability. So right now, if you're doing video, audio, and even to some extent images, the experience is clunky. And I don't think this is just WordPress. The experience is generally clunky across most CMSs. And I hope that now that we have a lot more broader, we actually started a new thing where we're bringing usability professionals from around the world are sort of open sourcing their talents and contributing to WordPress. Now that we have this broader base to do more testing, I hope we'll get a really smooth experience in there.
Were there any plugins that you purposely integrated into previous versions of WordPress, so you saw how popular they were and decided to actually build it into the platform?
Absolutely. Almost every feature that WordPress adds has been previously done as a plugin. Even all the way back down, we added automatic upgrade in 2.7, which you can one-click upgrade.
Huge help, huge help.
People love that. That was a plugin first. Same thing with the galleries, same thing with almost anything you can point to, WYSIWYG.
So you mentioned WordCamp. Can you tell us a little bit more about WordCamp and what's that all about?
Sure. So the first WordCamp was in 2006. We did it here in San Francisco, very much in barcamp style. Like we thought about it 2 weeks before, and 2 weeks later we had an event with about 200, 300 people. It's grown to be all over the world. So communities, WordPress users all over the world self-organize WordCamps. 2 days ago I was in Chicago at WordCamp. This weekend I'll be in Raleigh?
Raleigh, yeah.
Wow, I'm
You'll
so
be there.
not
You'll
a
learn how to
Yankee.
say it when you're there.
And the week after that is Brazil, and the week after that is Montreal. I mean, there's one almost every single weekend now, all around the world. And the cool thing is that rather than having to spend a ton of money to go to a conference halfway around the world, there'll be one down your street, and they typically cost like 20, 25 bucks. We just did the one in San Francisco. We had over 700 people there, and I think it was a great deal because for 25 bucks you got a barbecue lunch, of course, a full day of speakers, including some folks like John Lindley, the CEO of Mozilla, who was speaking at the $6,000 All Things D conference a couple days before, a t-shirt, and an open bar that night.
Fabulous. Now, do you end up at a lot of them, or do you just try to get the ones that are local to you?
Good question. I would love to go to every single one.
Every single one. That'd
but
be
if
pretty
I did
amazing.
that, I would have no time to
work
write
on
WordPress.
WordPress.
So people would just stop
The
going to them
irony.
eventually. So I'm now making it to around half of them. And maybe that'll go down to the third in the future.
They're really fun. So where can people find your work on the web?
Sure. So my website is ma.tt. That's Trinidad and Tobago. My Twitter is Photomat. And my email is matt@mullenweg.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here today.
It's my pleasure.
I want to thank Matt Mullenweg for being on the show today. And up next, how to save energy with Google. But first, GoToAssist, their computer, your brain. How do you get the two together without wasting time and money traveling? Use GoToAssist Express to view and control your customer's computer online so you can fix the problem on the spot. Save time and money on travel. Satisfy customers quickly and efficiently. Then move on to other tasks. Plus, if you sign up now, you'll get a chance to have your computer tweaked on the show by Tekzilla the last 2 weeks of June. To sign up with gotoassist.com/Tekzilla and email us with your GoToAssist ID with the words Tekzilla GoToAssist in the subject line, and you may be picked in the random drawing to have us mess with your PC remotely. So try GoToAssist Express free for 30 days. For this special offer, you must visit gotoassist.com/Tekzilla. That's gotoassist.com/Tekzilla for a free trial. Support us by supporting our sponsors. Looks like it's time for another website we just can't get enough of. A website that we just can't stay away from because it's too useful, too funny, or just too darn irresistible. This week's pick, convertfiles.com. We've spoken pretty extensively about downloading and converting video files, but this website does far more than just pulling YouTube videos from the internet. ConvertFiles.com converts tons of different file types, from zip to RAR, doc to PDF, JPEG to GIF. The combinations are almost endless. It also handles an impressive number of audio and video file types, and will pull videos from about 15 different sharing sites like YouTube, MetaCafe, and Dailymotion. To convert a file, first make sure it's under 100 megabytes, and then select it from your hard drive or enter in the URL of the file. Enter in the format it exists in now, and then tell it what file type you'd like them to output. Convert Files will then email you the file as soon as it's done. They'll keep the file on their servers for about 3 days before dumping it, so make sure you save it somewhere safe. The service is totally free, but they do have that 100 megabyte file size limit I mentioned, and that'll probably only be an issue with media or big zip files. Also, they can't convert files with DRM protection. Despite these small setbacks, ConvertFiles.com is a great site for your conversion needs, especially when you're on the go. Check them out today. Our next question comes from Oliver, who writes, "Hey Tekzilla, if we all use Blackle.com instead of Google.com, we could save hundreds of watt-hours of electricity a year. It's Google, just in black. Please put this as the tip of the day so I can be the envy of all of my friends. Thanks, Oliver."
I think he was much more stoked than that.
Envy of all of your friends. Well, hope the weekly show counts as much as the daily here, because you're on it. Now, you can probably save hundreds of watt hours in your home by turning off lights when you leave the room or converting incandescent bulbs to compact fluorescent bulbs. The EcoIron blog article that originally proposed changing Google's page from white to black suggested it would save 3,000 megawatt hours a year of electricity, around 8.3 megawatt hours per day. Then they adjusted that number down to 750 megawatt hours a year. Patrick and his trusty kilowatt power meter will explain why.
Yeah, Jim still hasn't figured out how to have this thing, by the way. So Jim, Louderback CEO, bud, it's been on my desk for like a year.
Why would you not be supposed to have it?
He just keeps not picking it up.
Oh,
and then he asks me if I have it, then I say I have it, and then it just sort of lives in my desk. In any case, so our trusty intern Ryan attached the power meter to his desktop monitor, the only CRT, the big fat old school honkin' television type monitor left in the Revision 3 offices. Google full screen, right, the big white screen, 118 watts. Blackle full screen, 92 watts. Not bad, actually. That's like not quite 25% less energy, but it's a fairly good drop, like 22, 23%. The same comparison on my LCD flat panel on my desk, 1 watt if we get, actually if you get any change at all. This particular monitor that we're running here in the studio with the kilowatt here, we've got 34, 35 watts in Google, and click. Oh, 31 watts in Blackle. It's an interesting thought, right? Here's the thing. CRTs use different amounts of electricity for different colors. White consumes more than black. Most of the power consumption in an LCD monitor, whether it's in your notebook or a monitor like this, is a backlight that's on constantly. So using Blackle on an LCD doesn't do a whole lot compared to using it on an old school CRT. Like I said, my desktop LCD flat panel, a single watt, not a big deal. Since the original EcoIron guesstimates on energy savings were based on CRT savings for all the monitors doing all the Google searches in all the lands of all the world, and in reality, much of the world has actually dropped CRTs for LCDs. The original estimates were a little too big. You want to save some serious energy, Oliver? Turn your monitor off. LCD, CRT, whatever it is, every time you leave your computer. That will save a lot more energy because you'll go from like 31 watts on this one or 75 on my desktop to 0.
0, true. But okay, even if it just drops 1 watt on the LCD, if that's 1 watt times all the LCD users in the entire world,
sure. If
that does become the majority, display, which it is, that's still a lot of watts that are being saved.
Well, it's kind of interesting because the guy from EcoIron did this huge FAQ, and they've done math, and people have checked it, and it's like $75,000 of electricity a year, which is great, right? Right, 750 megawatts. Yeah. But when you start looking at like what a small town consumes.
Yeah, but shouldn't you just think that every little bit helps?
Every little bit helps, but how about rather than a bunch of little bits, how about some big honking drops once in a while? Like when you get up from your desk, turn your monitor off.
You should turn it off.
In my office, I go around and shut monitors off at night.
They love you for that.
No, actually it pisses them off, and I don't care.
Lunch breaks, they come back, their monitors off.
I counted actually in one of the offices I worked in, like 5 out of every 7 monitors was left on over the weekend.
That's not good.
At night. Yeah. It's just, it's wasteful.
I'm guilty of that as well.
Turn it off. Yes, you are.
Well,
which is why I sneak
here,
into your house and turn it off. Yes.
Yeah, people get mad at me. In the meantime, let's thank one of today's sponsors, Squarespace. Squarespace is a web page publishing system for anyone looking to build a blog, portfolio, or any kind of website. It's a flexible tool for just about anyone, and no coding experience is required. Over the last 6 months, Squarespace has grown over 100%, and they attribute much of that growth to fans like you. As a special thanks, Squarespace will be giving away an iPhone a day for the next 30 days to lucky fans. All you have to do is include #Squarespace in a tweet. The rest of the tweet is up to you, so get creative to be entered in that day's drawing. A winner will be chosen at the end of each day and announced on squarespace.com as well as on twitter.com/Squarespace. So support us by supporting our sponsors, like Squarespace. All right, well, our next email is from Todd, and it's about a new type of video connector.
Todd writes in, I'm looking to get a new graphics card. I've been reading that DisplayPort is replacing the old DVI and VGA ports. Rumor has it that the DisplayPort is twice as fast as DVI. What exactly does that mean, and how am I going to notice it? I have a Dell UltraSharp 2709W monitor, and it can use both. But before I drop $250 plus in a new video card, that's dollars, people, I want to make sure that I am squeezing the most speed and quality out of everything I can. From Todd in Tampa.
Ooh, I want his monitor.
Yes.
Wait, I think I have his monitor. Never mind.
You
can keep your monitor.
I want your monitor. I want both your monitors. Here's the thing, right? I want your monitor. She has your monitor, not because it's one of the rare monitors that actually has a full-size DisplayPort, but because it's a nice 27-inch monitor. Do we say rare? Lots of Apple products have mini DisplayPort jacks. They can pass VGA or DVI signals over if you fork over the long green for one of their adapters. Sound annoying yet? It's kind of funny because Dell and Apple are two of the big proponents of DisplayPort, and it's not a proprietary technology. There's a laundry list of big names in tech that support DisplayPort. You can find them at displayport.org. Do you want to talk about the open standard that is DisplayPort?
Yes, I believe I can do that. It's an open standard that VESA, the Video Electronics Standards Association, proposed as a replacement for DVI back in 2006. It can carry audio, supports HDCP, and like HDMI ports, are a lot smaller than DVI jacks. In the future, DisplayPort promises things like enough bandwidth to pass multiple video streams over the same connector, and a micropacket architecture that supports easy expansion of the standard. Yawning yet? In the future, you might have slimmer, cheaper flat panels because DisplayPort can drive panels directly and eliminate the scaling and control circuitry in the monitor. Mostly, DisplayPort is royalty free, while HDMI is 4 cents per device on top of an annual fee of 10 grand for big manufacturers.
So,
what's this mean for the average Joe?
Buy a TVI card, an inexpensive one if you don't need 3D gaming, a more expensive one if you do. You are not going to notice any difference between that and the DisplayPort. The bandwidth they're talking about, the twice as fast, is bandwidth. And trust me, DVI and HDMI have more than enough bandwidth for anything you're going to punch up on that monitor. A monitor you buy a few years from now, that's a completely different story, but you'll be on a new graphics card by then. And by that point, either DisplayPort or HDMI or both will be on every monitor in the planet.
Squee!
Squee!
People were making fun of me for my squee in the
Actually,
last
they
episode.
were enjoying your squee.
I guess they're like, squee! Squee! Not really much to squee about, but hey, you got it in there.
That's like squee meets grommet talk. Cheese!
Cheese! Grommet!
Everyone knows the moon is made of cheese.
Well, you ready for our last question of the day?
Can I be the grommet person?
Yes. It's a video email, so we can dispense with our narration for a few seconds here. Take it away, Lance.
I live on keyboard shortcuts, but in OS X there doesn't seem to be a way to tell an application not to save a file and just quit the program. Pressing escape cancels and pressing enter saves, but there doesn't seem to be a good way to just quit the application with no saving. Could use some help here.
Think about that. If you don't have to reach for the mouse and click on don't save, the seconds turns into minutes over the course of a year. How many times do you click don't save? That's
They
like
add up.
hundreds of trips to the soda machine.
And I mean, that's a super, super common pop-up for me, especially because I'm always writing in Windows and then, you know, being like, ah, screw this, and closing it, and then
Click.
it pops up. I was totally stumped on this one, and I consider myself a pretty keyboard shortcut savvy lady. I feel
hate
kind of
your
stupid
mouse.
for not knowing this one. I do hate my mouse, stupid mouse. I don't really hate it that much. So I posted it into my friend feed to see if anyone had a clue. Fee501st and Victor actually came to the same conclusion, and that's Command D. When that pop-up comes up, we'll hit the don't save.
Really?
We'll activate don't save, so you can just like, bloop, bloop, done.
I
That's
like
it.
that.
Yeah, I need you guys sometimes. I just, there are things that I guess I could have binged it. That doesn't sound the same, does it? Instead of saying
No,
Google it.
it doesn't,
I
but-
binged it.
We actually, speaking
But I
of
didn't Bing it.
Bing, not to digress, but I'm going to give Bing another look.
You know, I really like their commercials.
That's the commercials are why
I'm
they had the
such a
big
corporate
spike
whore.
and we're bigger than Yahoo
I
for
was
like
like,
36
commercials.
hours.
Oh, that's cute and clever. Maybe I will give that thing a try. I judged it too quickly.
Command line woman succumbs to the joy of Microsoft advertising. Notice the lack of high-priced stars that makes no sense in this particular round of advertising. Google, Bing.
Yeah.
Google Bing
Bing,
commercial.
no, it's Bing. Oh, you just made a Microsoft PR person very unhappy
They
by
never
saying
talk
that.
to me anyway. Hey, if
Very
anybody at
unhappy.
Microsoft PR wants to give us a heads up about new products, please email us, Tekzilla@revision3.com. And if you haven't, check out Revision 3's store, revision3.com/store. We got some great stuff. Tekzilla shirts, hats, you know what, just all kinds of goodies from all
All
your
the
favorite
show
Revision 3
gear.
shows. No Tekzilla hot sauce yet. but
Yet.
Our producer, Roger Chang, he pines for the hot sauce, and
He wants
someday
it
it will
so
be
very
there.
much.
Head on over to revision3.com/store, score some gear, and show your Revision 3 pride.
Yep, and for all of you watching, we live on your questions, so email us, Tekzilla@revision3.com. Tech help, product reviews, how-tos.
Interviews.
You ask us. Interviews sometimes. Yeah, let us know who else you want us to interview, and we'll try to get them on the show. Typically, if they're local, it's good, but we can also do Skype video, email interviews.
We should get Kevin
emails.
Smith. See how many times we can bleep him out in a 4-minute interview.
Kevin Smith? Yeah, that would be something.
Get him all
Why
on
would
its
we
own.
have him on the show, though?
Because he's
Because he's awesome.
he played
like
that really
relevant
great
style?
geek in the last Die Hard movie. It was
Okay,
it was
fair
epic.
enough. So send in those emails to Tekzilla@revision3.com. Or even better, send us in a video question. Think of all the fun you can have and the admiration of all your friends and family when they see your mug on our show. Just keep it to 15 seconds, upload it to YouTube, and send us a link in an email with video question in the subject line.
And as always, you can visit our forums at revision3.com/forum. Share your thoughts, ideas, or comments with other fans of the show or other haters on the show. Just get your First Amendment on, people. Thanks for so much.
That's not the drinking one, right?
Oh, boy.
Joking!
Look, Veronica
Don't
touched her
email
hair.
me.
That's like 2 shots.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
Until next time, you've been watching
Tekzilla.
Yeah, what she said.
See some graffiti art. I bet we could
like
get some
every
like
guest
real
put a
kind of
sticker.
awesome mural on the side here.
Graffiti art.
We're kind of like hip and urban, right? I'm hip and urban, right?
Oh, I guess you don't want her to hear everything.
Right, yeah. It's really annoying sometimes because I can hear him talking to people, and I know he's talking to Josh, but I can't hear what he's saying. And then they tell me to do things, or they're like, yeah, I know. Or God, I know. They just roll their eyes at each other.
Ready? That's a yes. And
Yes.
3, 2.
Or the top 3 places to avoid eating in, I don't know how to
Oh,
say
sorry,
that.
Ely. My bad. Ely, Nevada.
You're just like throwing those little things in there for me. Decipher this.
What the hell
instantly. Or the top 3 places to avoid eating.
Shoot.
Well, you need to bring the prompter up.